Hello and welcome back to Basic Course in Maithili. We are in week 6 and we are going to talk about lesson number 6.3. In this lesson, we are going to talk about possessive pronouns in Maithili. So, let's begin with this. So, in this lesson, we are going to talk about what possessive pronouns are, how Maithili marks possession, how and why honorificity matters, and how emphatic possessives work. So, what are possessive pronouns? Possessive pronouns are pronouns which show ownership or belonging. So, in English, we have the possessive pronouns as my, your, his, her, are, their, its. These are the possessive pronouns of English. Then these are the possessive pronouns of Hindi. मेरा, तुम्हारा, आपका, उसका, हमारा, इसका, इनका. These are Hindi possessive pronouns. And the same thing in Maithili are हमर, तोहर, अहाँक, अपनेक, एकर, हिनकर, ओकर, हुनकर. So, Maithili possessives, the Maithili possessive pronoun forms are closely linked to the relationship between speaker, listener and the person being talked about. That is why the same English word your may appear in different Maithili forms depending on honoripicity. So, the word your in English, depending upon the context and depending upon the honoripicity, will have 4 words equivalents in Maithili. So, if we are talking about the your, which is for someone who is highly respectable person, we would use apnek. To someone to whom we are going to give some kind of a respect, we are going to say ahank. To someone who is a bit of less honorific but a bit more intimate to us, we can say it tohar. And someone with whom we do not want to show any kind of respect, or we are very intimate, that respect is not required there, in that case we would use tohar. Then what are the basic forms? So, in this table you see the basic forms of Maithili, English and Hindi, and they are all categorized based upon their person and the honoripicity marked for them. So, the first 4 words that you see here, they are for second person pronouns. So, in Maithili it is tohar, but English it is your, and Hindi it is tumhara. In Maithili, mid honorific it is again tohar, in English it is the same, and Hindi it could be aapka. The honorific one in Maithili would be ahank, English is the same again, and Hindi has aapka. And high honorific would be apnek, but in English again it is the same, but in Hindi again it is the same, aapka. For the first person possessive pronoun, which stands for I, we use in English my or our if it is plural. In Hindi it would be mera or hamara, but in Maithili for both singular and plural we will have only one possessive first person pronoun, which is hamar. In the third person non honorific, we would have the first one as ekar, and this one is for the proximal one, something that is near. So, ekar, which would mean in English as his, her or its. For all of this in Maithili there is only one word, that is ekar. In Hindi it would be iska. For honorific hinkar, it would be his, her, in English, and Hindi it would be inka. For non-honorific third person and remote, it would be occur. In English it is again the same, but Hindi also marks proximal and decimal, so it would be uska. And for honorificity, we would say in Hindi as hunkar. In English it is the same, but in Hindi it would be unka. So, from the word to, that is second person non-honorific, we are creating the possessive pronoun tohar. So, from to we get tohar, from hum we get hamar, from aha we get ahak, from apne we get apnik. Let us see some more examples in sentences. So, you can say hamar kitab. In English it would mean my book or meri kitab in Hindi. Then we can say apnek chhari, that is your stick. Now, here your is not just your, it is honorific your, apnek stick. In Hindi it would be aapki chhari. Then tohar ghari, that is your watch, and here there is no honorificity attached, or it is mid honorific. In Hindi it would be tumhari ghari or even aapki ghari. In agreement, sometimes we also need to show this thing in agreement. In Maithili, the auxiliary has to agree with the pronoun not only in grammatical person, but in the honorificity level as well. That is a major feature of Maithili sentence agreement. Let us see some examples. So, when you say tohar kitab table par chhau, which means your book is on the table. So, here the word tohar is non-honorific and the verb that has been used here is chhau. So, it is an existential verb, but it is in agreement with the second person non-honorific word tohar. Then, if we are using the same thing in honorific form, so instead of saying that the person who is respectable, we are going to say the same sentence in aha kitab table par h. So, let us say if you are saying the sentence your book is on the table to someone who is very close to you or is in your same age group or junior to you, with whom you have a very informal kind of a relationship and intimate relationship, you can say tohar kitab table par chho. But if the person is someone who is unknown to you or is someone who is senior to you or is someone to whom you are going to give and respect, then the same sentence you would be saying it as aha kitab table par ach. Let us see some more examples. So, hamar kitab table par ach, my book is on the table. Here the speaker is referring to himself or herself. So, the agreement marker here is achi for existential verb. Tohar kitab table par chha. Now, here chha, or you can also write chha. Here the your, which is meant for someone who is intimate and senior and it is a mid honorific thing, then you say your book is on the table. So, in this case your agreement is changing and it becomes cha. So, it is addressed to someone who is intimate but senior to him. Then apne kitab table par ach. Again the same sentence, your book is on the table, but it is addressed to someone who is highly respectable and known to the speaker. Now, ekar kitab table par chaik. Now, here it refers to someone who is nearby and we are talking about his book. So, his book is on the table and here the agreement changes because here Ecker refers to someone who is intimate and no honorificity is required. Then you also have किताब टेबल पर अछि, एकर चारिटा पन्ना फाटल अछि. Now here first we posited a sentence, the book is on the table, and then we talked about it, 4 of its pages are torn. So now here its refers to Ecker, and because it is a non-human thing, that is why no honorificity is required. So these are the insights we get from it. The agreement, or rather the verb agreement, changes as the addressee changes, while in English for all of the sentences we are using only one auxiliary verb, that is is. So in all the sentences that you have seen, they are all using is, they are present tense sentences, but the verb form has changed because of the agreement markers and the subject. In Maithili, the auxiliary changes as per the auxiliary agreement rules we discussed in the previous lesson. Subject or the grammatical subject of all these sentences is actually third person, as they are all noun phrases, that is they are all referring to kitab. Despite this, the agreement changes because of the honorificity of the person addressed to or being talked about. This shows that auxiliary agrees with the pronoun and not the subject. Some more casual sentences. So here you have a sentence called हमर किताब टेबल पर राखल. अब राखल के बाद what can you say? After राखल, what would you say? अच्छी, छैक, छ, what? So here you would be saying, because the subject is third person singular हमर किताब, that is why you would be saying अच्छी. हमर किताब टेबल पर राखल अच्छी. Next, ओकर मोबाइल खराब. What would you say? Can you say अच्छी? No, you have to say छै, because the subject here is third person and non-honorific. That is why you have to use the verb agreement छै. Then तोहर खेत एकदम चौकोर छ. अहाँ के चश्मा बेसी नीक अछि. तोहर पानिक बोतल कतय छौ. Now here तोहर refers to someone who is very intimate and no honorificity is required, that is why the auxiliary छौ has been used here. So how do we emphasize the possessive pronouns? We have seen that emphasis is marked in a separate way in Maithili. So in Maithili, emphasis can be shown by adding O, which is for inclusive, and A, which is for restrictive suffix. So we are using two suffixes, either O or A. If we are using O suffix, then it means inclusive. If we are using A suffix, then it means restrictive. Inclusive reading can be shown at the end of the word by using seho as well. This also works with possessive pronouns. So here you see the possessive pronouns and its emphatic possessive form. So with hamar you can say hamro or hamare. With tohar you would say toro or tore. Again tohar is the same thing. So ahak, with ahak you can make ahunk or ahink. With apnek you would say apnek seho, because here you cannot use a or o. Apne ko or apne ke is usually not marked as correct. So, here you have to use the word seho to mark the inclusive. With ekar, you can make ekro or ekre. Ekro is the inclusive one, ekre is the exclusive one. Hinkar would be hinkaro and hinke. Okar would be okoro and okre, and then hunkar would be hunkaro and hunke. Let us see some examples. So, when we say hamro ghar par amak gach chai, so this is for inclusive one, which means that there might be a mango tree at some other places as well, but one is also at my place. So, hamro ghar par amak gach chai would mean in English there is a mango tree at my house as well. In Hindi the same would be मेरे घर पे भी आम का पेड़ है. तोरो किताब 100 पन्ना का छ. So, here again it is inclusive, saying that your book is also of 100 pages. Ahuk गाय कारी age. So, your car is also black. So, all of these three examples show the inclusive emphatic marker. Then here we see the exclusive markers. So, when you said hamro kitab table par hai, it meant my book is also on the table, but here in this sentence the sentence is hamre kitab table par hai. That means my book or only my book or even indeed my book is on the table. It may also mean that only my book is on the table. मेरी ही किताब मेज पर है. Next sentence would be एकरे रंग बहुत सुंदर छे. So, let us say for example, you are checking clothes and you have several options, and out of that you are going to say that no, this shirt's color is very good and only this one. So, this marks the exclusivity here. Then hinke baat theek ach, that means his statement is correct or only his statement is correct. Inhi ki baat sahi hai in Hindi. So, in all of these examples the suffix a attaches to the pronoun, adding emphasis of focus or exclusivity and conveying a meaning similar to only, indeed or specifically or even exclusively. So, what are the key features that we see? So, in this table you see that normal possessive simply shows ownership or possession, for example, hamar kitab, which means my book. If you are using emphatic possessive o, it shows basically inclusion. So, hamro kitab would mean my book too or my book as well or even my book. So, when you are using emphatic possessive suffix a, it shows basically focus and shows some kind of exclusion. So, hamare kitab, that means only my book. You can also show honorific choice with this based on the level of respect. So, you can say tohar, ahak or apnek. In English it would be the same, because English would usually not show it at the lexical level. And for auxiliary agreement we have to match it with the honoripicity, and we need to choose, we are using either achi, cha or chani. It changes based on honoripicity of the pronoun. So, let us do a quick recap of what we have learnt in this lesson. So, this table shows you all of the possessive pronouns. So, hamar say hamro, with hamar you made hamro and then hamre. So, hamro is the inclusive one, and hamre is the exclusive one. So, that is how we go through all of these. So, hamar, hamro, hamre, tohar, toro, tore, tohar, toro, tore, ahak, ahuk, ahik hai, and apnek, apnek se ho and apnek hai. Ekar, ekro, ekre, hinkar, hinkaro, hinke, okar, okro, okre, and hunkar, hunkaro, hunke. So, that is how this goes. With this, we come to the end of lesson 6.2, where we talked about possessive pronouns. We will meet again in the next lesson with a conversation consisting of possessive pronouns. Thank you.